The afternoon sun beat down on the cracked sidewalks of Ridgewood, a quiet suburban town that pretended to have no problems. 16-year-old Darius Daniels was walking home from basketball practice, his gym bag slung over his shoulder, sneakers squeaking softly against the pavement. Sweat dripped down his forehead, but there was a brightness in his eyes. He had just been told he'd made varsity, the youngest player on the team. To Darius, the future felt wide open. To some people in Ridgewood, though, Darius was just another black kid walking in the wrong neighborhood. As he passed the corner store, a patrol car slowed beside him. The squeal of tires pulled his attention, and before Darius could react, the car door swung open. Officer Blake, a broad-shouldered white cop with a reputation for being tough on crime, stepped out. His sunglasses reflected Darius like a cold, empty mirror. "Hey you, stop right there," Blake barked, his hand hovering over his holster. Darius froze. Me? You see anybody else around here?" Blake sneered, stepping closer. "Bag down, hands up." Confused, Darius set his gym bag on the ground. "Sir, I'm just coming from practice." "Don't talk back. I said hands up," Blake shouted, voice sharp enough to turn heads from across the street. People peeked through blinds and around corners, but no one dared intervene. Darius's heart raced. He lifted his hands, palms trembling. "Empty your pockets." Darius did as he was told, pulling out his phone, a few crumpled bills, and a set of keys. Blake's eyes narrowed. "Looks like stolen property to me. Turn around." "What? No, that's my stuff. You can call Coach Miller. He'll explain." Before Darius could finish, Blake grabbed his wrist and twisted it behind his back, shoving him against the hood of the patrol car. The sting of cold metal cuffs bit into Darius's skin. "Stop resisting," Blake barked, though Darius hadn't moved an inch except under Blake's force. Tears of fear stung Darius's eyes. "Please, I didn't do anything." But Officer Blake wasn't listening. He pushed Darius into the back of the patrol car like he'd already been convicted of a crime. As the car pulled away, Darius caught a glimpse of his neighbors, watching silently. Their silence hurt almost as much as the cuffs digging into his wrists. At the station, Darius was shoved into an interrogation room. The air smelled of stale coffee and old sweat. Blake leaned against the wall, arms crossed, wearing a smirk of authority. "You fit the description of a suspect we're looking for. Black male, late teens, seen around this area." "That could be anybody," Darius protested, voice cracking. "I was at practice. You can check. I didn't do anything wrong." Blake slammed his fist on the table, making Darius flinch. "You kids think you can run these streets, but not on my watch." Darius shook his head, tears streaming now. "Please, call my dad. His number's in my phone. He'll explain." Blake smirked. "Yeah, we'll see about that." Word spread quickly. By the time Blake finished filing his half-baked report, a tall, composed man in a tailored suit strode through the station doors. His presence alone turned heads. His name was Judge Anthony Daniels, Darius's father. "Where's my son?" he demanded, voice calm but edged with steel. The desk sergeant stammered. Judge Daniels, Officer Blake has him in holding." The judge's eyes darkened. Without waiting for permission, he pushed through to the interrogation wing, every officer suddenly making way like the Red Sea parting. When Blake saw him, his smirk faltered. "Who are you?" Blake asked. "I'm Judge Daniels, and the boy you dragged in here like a criminal is my son." Blake blinked. "Your son?" "That's right," Antonio said, stepping forward until he loomed over the officer. "The same son you illegally detained without probable cause. The same son you manhandled in front of the entire neighborhood for the crime of walking home while black." Darius's eyes lit up the moment he saw his father. Relief washed over him like rain after a drought. "Dad!" Antonio's expression softened briefly as he pulled Darius into his arms, then hardened again when he turned back to Blake. "You claimed he fit a description. Show me the report. Show me the evidence." Blake stuttered, fumbling through his words. We got a call. Somebody reported." "Enough," Antonio snapped, his voice echoing through the station. "You had no call. You had no report. What you had was prejudice, and you thought no one would hold you accountable." The entire room went silent. Officers who once turned a blind eye now avoided Blake's gaze, ashamed. Antonio straightened his tie, his authority radiating. "Officer Blake, I will be filing a formal complaint against you for unlawful arrest, abuse of power, and racial profiling. And believe me, this station, this city, and the court will hear about it." Blake's face drained of color. The confidence he once carried melted into fear. He opened his mouth, but no words came. Antonio guided Darius out of the interrogation room, his hand resting protectively on his son's shoulder. At the door, he turned one last time. "And let this be a reminder. One day, the people you mistreat will be the ones holding you accountable." Later that night, Darius sat at the kitchen table, still shaken. Antonio placed a hand over his son's hand. "You did nothing wrong," he said softly. "Don't ever let anyone convince you that your worth is defined by their prejudice. Remember, truth and justice will always outlast lies and hate." Darius nodded, swallowing hard. "Thanks, Dad." Antonio smiled. "One day, you'll be the one standing up for someone else, and that will be the greatest victory." Meanwhile, news of the incident spread across Ridgewood. Neighbors who once stayed silent began to speak up. People demanded accountability. And Officer Blake? He was suspended, his career hanging by a thread, all because he underestimated a black teenager whose father carried not just authority, but truth. Never judge someone by the color of their skin or by the power you think you hold over them. Justice has a way of turning the tables, and those who abuse their authority will one day face the consequences.